As promised, you see him right here. It's the Cubs president of baseball operations, Jed Hoyer, joining us now on Cubs Live. And Jed, as you know, well, I'm sure your stress level has gone down just a little bit because Tuesday, that was Major League Baseball's trade deadline, 6 o'clock Eastern time. That hour came and went. And when all the dust settled, Willson Contreras and Ian Happ, still members of the Chicago Cubs. How big is it to have these two still with the organization?
Yeah, it's big. You know, we put a high price on both guys, as we should. They're both all-star caliber players. And you know, obviously we listened. I think with where we are as an organization, you have to listen, have those conversations. But we never got close to that line where we felt like the value we were getting was in excess of the value that those guys provided. So in the end, it was actually a really easy decision. The deadline came and went, and we still have two really good players.
Absolutely. And when you look at that value, when you take a look at the all-star status of Willson Contreras, three-time all-star, three-time starter, Ian Happ, first-time all-star, was the market value way under?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to say that. I mean, obviously the market's how we perceive it, right? Okay. And for us, True. We never got to that value. Other teams may feel like they were offering a lot, but we never got to that level. We felt that way, and it was a strange market. You know, I think that we had really motivated buyers last year. A year ago, with the players we had, we felt like teams really stepped up at the end and gave us excellent talent. And you know, this year we never got to that point, and we were really happy to make the phone calls to Ian and to Willson to say you're still Cubs.
Okay, we're going to get to that talent that you pulled in at the trade deadline in just a second. But in the meantime, I don't want to dig too far in. But when it comes to a potential contract extension for Ian Happ and a qualifying offer for Willson Contreras, how far away are the two sides?
We'll keep talking. You know, we always try to keep that stuff in house, but we've got great relationships with both guys. We've got great relationships with their agents. And we'll keep talking. Okay,
well, with both of those guys still being here and what we've heard from the franchise, there's still being money available from a season ago. Will that affect how the offseason plans are really tackled by you and Carter and the front office in general?
Yeah, you know, we'll certainly have money to spend going into next year. And, you know, our goal is to build something really special. We know that truly special season may be a bit in the future, but we want to compete every year in the meantime. So there'll be money to spend, and we look forward to getting to the off season and working on that. But in the meantime, we got a lot more games, and we can learn a lot over this next, you know, almost 2 months.
Okay, so when it comes to some of those holes that need to be plugged, I know you're not going to go into specifics with certain players, but are there any needs in particular when it comes to positional places? Is it a shortstop? Is it a second baseman, center field, catcher for that matter?
Yeah, it's hard to say that because I don't want to. We're still playing games, and we got guys on the field. You know, but certainly we know what things we need to address. You know, I think this year we put the ball in the ground way too often. We've gotten on base. We've done a good job of grinding at bats, but like kind of finishing off rallies. We have too many double plays. You know, not enough power in some ways. So those are some things we have to address. And certainly pitching depth. We worked really hard at the deadline. We worked hard in the offseason to do that. But I think when we've really hit the skids this year at a couple of different times, it's been lack of pitching depth, and we just have to keep building that up. The system is about to start churning out some really good pitching, but we have to be aware. Like, you know, we saw this year what happens when you don't have enough pitching. We had, you know, 4 starters on the IL, and we weren't able to perform when we had that. So we have to avoid that going forward.
Jed, we saw you deal 3 relievers for 3 right-handed pitchers with tons of promise. You take a look at Ben Brown, Saul Gonzalez, Hayden Wesneski. How encouraged are you by the haul that you were able to pull in?
Yeah, you know, I think the draft, we took a lot of pitching. We got a lot of pitching at the deadline. We've been just, as an organization, really trying to churn out pitching, you know, internationally, you know, through the draft, through trades, through free agency. We feel really good about our pitching infrastructure, led by Craig Breslow.
Sure.
Those guys have done a wonderful job, and I think that the fruits of those labors are going to start showing up really soon.
When it comes to the guys that you were taking in the draft, 7th and 47th, 2 big-time irons, how do you feel about those youngsters?
Yeah, fantastic. You know, we're going to take it slow this summer with them. They've had big seasons, but, you know, in our opinion, we got someone that we felt like was the best college pitcher at the end of the year in Cade Horton. We got a guy that we had rated as one of the top high school pitchers in Jackson Ferris.
Sure.
And it was important. You have to be willing to take shots on really good power arms in the draft, and we did that, and we couldn't be more excited about it.
Jed, Saturday before the trade deadline, you dealt Chris Martin to Los Angeles for Zach McKinstry. What was it about McKinstry that you liked to bring him into this club?
Yeah, we love the versatility. Okay. Left-handed bat was really important for us. You know, we were pretty right-handed. He was a guy we had targeted for a while. The Dodgers are so deep, especially in the infield, and there wasn't a lot of playing time for him. So sometimes you can take a good player out of a situation where he doesn't have a lot of playing time he can really allow his career to sort of be unlocked. And so we're hoping here he has opportunity, and hopefully he can make the most of that opportunity.
It doesn't hurt that he's a Fort Wayne, Indiana native, and he grew up coming to Wrigley Field and watching Cubs games. That certainly helps, no doubt about that. How about the future of the Cubs when it comes to some of these youngsters, Kevin Alcantara, PCA, and Matt Mervis? This guy, tons of power right now. You have to feel pretty good about the way things are looking down on the farm.
Yeah, I feel great about the way things are going. You know, we're winning tons of games. I think we're third in the minor league in winning percentage. Our prospects are playing really well. Up and down the system, we have a lot of depth. And I think that that'll start to come up. If year after year we can have good drafts, develop well, that will eventually matriculate its way up to the big leagues and have a huge impact. This year, we didn't quite have that that level to come up to the big leagues and help in the way we will in the future. But I think pretty soon it'll be the way it was going back to 2013, 14, 15, where every year there were multiple players coming up to the big leagues and making a huge impact. And people should be excited to watch the minor leagues right now. Yeah,
plenty of excitement on the back burner right now. And you talk about the third best record in the minor leagues. So, Jed, when it comes to that window for the next great Cubs team, when will that next championship trophy be hoisted? You don't necessarily know that, but you talk a look at that promise, and these guys right here, they're setting the world on fire.
Yeah, I never put an exact date on it, but we're getting really excited about the way things are coming together in the minors. I always tell people that, long before sort of people started to figure out that we had that much talent in the minors in 2014. It's sort of the end of 14 is when people started talking about the minor league system, and we knew kind of well in advance of that. And so I'm starting to get that feeling now as well, where we have a ton of talent. These guys are all performing, and I think pretty soon everyone will start to realize just how much ability we have in the minors. And now it's about that transition. When you get to that point, it's about transitioning to being a championship team. We did that exceptionally well in 2015, and that'll be our challenge to get to that point. You have to gather that talent in the minor leagues, but then that transition to make sure that you can win in the big leagues is really important. And we've done it before, and we'll do it again.
Minor league talent at the catcher position, what's it looking like right now? Because all indications show it's pretty positive.
Yeah, Miguel Amaya's on the way back. Yep. He looks really good. He's DHing for us in Tennessee, hitting really well. He's on a throwing program, so he's not going to catch right now. But hopefully, when we get to this fall and into the winter, he'll start those drills and come back good as new. So, in some ways, I feel like we've had a great year in the minors, and some of our main guys like Brandon Davis and Miguel Amaya have been hurt, and those guys are going to come back really strong.
Yeah, with guys that used to be in the minors like Nelson Velasquez and Christopher Morel, how promising are their early starts to their career in the bigs? Because what we've seen out of them in a small sample size looks pretty good.
Yeah, I love their energy.
Absolutely.
They play hard every day. They have real tools, and I think you're going to see with them, you're going to see some inconsistencies as you see with young players, but you can see the talent, and I think that's the most important thing. And they're both just great kids.
Yeah, two more talented guys. They're in that rotation. Justin Steele, of course, Keegan Thompson. When it comes to these guys being pillars of that rotation, is this something that you see for years to come?
Yeah, they look great.
They do.
I think for us, it's about this next 2 months, kind of monitoring their workload a little bit, making sure that they don't get overtired. They're a big part of the future, and we have to make sure that we handle them the right way. But it's been really exciting to see them, and I think you've seen the same thing. There's some inconsistency there from start to start, but when they're on, when they look right, these guys look like legitimate big league starting pitchers that can help us win a lot of games.
Just a shade over 100 games. That means that you're just under 60 for the season. So what do you want to see out of this team towards the back half of the season, man?
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot of opportunity for guys to play, to show different things. We want to put guys in different positions to succeed. I think the bullpen, obviously we traded 4 relievers, and that's going to be something we're going to have to piece together the rest of the way. I know that, and that's sort of on me, that we love the talent we got for those relievers for our future, but obviously that's a hole that we're going to have to fill, and we're not going to be able to fill it the rest of the year with guys like David Robertson and Gibbons, and that's going to be the challenge. But
is it the time for some of those youngsters to assume that role? Yeah. Because sometimes before you can become a starter, what you want to be, you have to really prove your worth and cut your teeth as a reliever.
I love breaking starters in as relievers. Okay. I think that they realize they can get major league outs. I think that they realize they can hold their stuff a little bit longer than sometimes they think. So a lot of really good starting pitchers, Keegan and Steele as an example, have started that way.
Absolutely.
So that's really important. And look at Scott Effross last year. He came up in August after we traded guys away, made a huge impression, and then was fantastic this year. And Obviously, it wasn't something we talked about a lot before, but we had a deal to turn him into a guy that we think can be a really good starting pitcher for us for a long time. So it's a great opportunity for guys to show what they can do.
Yeah, the future, it's always an unknown, but it always helps to have a little extra insight from one of the guys that makes the decisions. President of Baseball Operations for the Chicago Cubs, Jed Hoyer. Jed, always a pleasure catching up with you. And now you can relax just a little bit because the trade deadline and all the moving and shaking, it's over with, at least until next season.
Yeah, the mind never stops. You're always on to the next thing, but it's nice not to be up at 2 a.m. every night.
Absolutely. Jed Hoyer, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Cole.
Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks.